how can I use advanced charting techniques such as Fibonacci retracement and Elliott Wave analysis to make better decision? Okay, this is also a very good question. Okay, I always say this: to profit from a trade, you just need to focus on these two things. Okay, you need to get the direction right. You need to get the timing right? So timing here, we are talking about entry and exit. Essentially, every analysis and strategy is just these two elements. You get the direction right, you get the timing right, you make money. Okay, but of course, it's not going to be 100% of the time because, you know, whatever analysis you use, the market is the market. Sometimes it's just going to go against you. Okay, but as long as overall, you know, you win more than you lose, it's fine. Okay, so the idea of any analysis and strategy is about getting these two things, right? You're basically extracting information from your analysis and your strategy, which direction to trade, when to get in, when to get out, what price to get in, what price to get out. Again, that's the principle, that's the framework of any strategy. How you find out this information, that's where that detail of the method comes in. Okay, so when you understand, again, I always like to give frameworks and principles because that guides you in the process. Okay, and that gives you that clarity on what to work on. Okay, so if you talk about, you know, back to this question, right? Fib retracement. Okay, you want to ask yourself this question: does it give you the direction or does it fills in the timing aspect? Okay, so from my perspective, Fibonacci retracement gives you the timing on the part of which price to focus. Okay, so it doesn't really give you the when specifically, but it gives you the where. Okay, which price? It gives you the answer of where. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. Right, the direction here, we're basically asking what direction. Okay, then we're also asking when to execute. Okay, and of course we're also asking which price to execute or focus, okay, to look for a trade. So these are the three questions, right? So when we talk about direction, we're always asking what direction. Timing here is when and where. Okay, when to execute, where is the price point. Okay, so Fibonacci retracement has the element of giving you this answer, which price. Okay, because you pull fibs, you have that 50 and 618 Fibonacci, for example. Those are the areas you look up for, right? So that's the price, right? So if today you only based on fibs, right, then what you realize is, hey, I'm lacking the direction, I'm lacking the when. Okay, so if today you only have Fibonacci as part of your analysis, then obviously you're lacking component within your framework, right? You need something to fill up and give you the information of should you buy, should you sell, when should you pull the trigger, right? So is it gonna be Elliott Wave? Is it gonna be some other methods? Doesn't really matter because, as I mentioned, as long as you can get the direction and the timing, right? As long as you can get this three component answered, your analysis to a certain extent is complete. Okay. So again, that's why framework is important, because it gives you that guiding principle. So how do you use fibs plus Elliott Wave, right? So Elliott Wave comes in a way where if you really understand the essence of it, it's all about patterns, right? It's all about price pattern. Okay, so let's talk about the simplest one, which is an impulse push, a very fast move, and then a corrective pullback. Okay, so this is a pattern combination that we know has a very high probability of a future up move. Okay, so that's what? That's answering the direction to focus. Because whenever we see this pattern, we want to focus on the upside. Okay, so that's the direction, right? But again, just based on this alone, we probably don't have the price point to execute, right? We don't know when. So we need more layers to it. So maybe we add in the fibs, right? So if you take fibs swing low to swing high, somewhere around 50%, that's the area to look up for, right? And that's answering which price. So when to execute. Okay, so this is the part where for Elliott Wave, what we do is we want to few elements, right? I mean, it's not definitely one way, but we can stack up a few elements to answer certain things. So one of it is the when is I want to give it time and at least see this pullback developing slowly. Okay, so some framework we use is if the impulse fast move takes, let's say, 2 days, okay, the correction I need to give it at least 4 days or even longer for it to develop. So that can't give me the timing, right? When I need to wait at least 4 days. Okay, so that's one element, right? I can of course also look at it from an angle for in terms of like the pattern, right? The price development is slow. That's great, right? That gives me an element of timing too. I can also use my trigger as a element of time, right? Which means I use a breakout order. I wait for the price to break, then only I get it, right? So that's also again a timing thing. Right? So you realize every decision and analysis aspect in your method or strategy at the end of the day is to give you information of these three things. Okay, and these three things is gonna guide you in your direction and timing, and those are the two most important things if you want to profit from a trade. Okay, so again, dissect everything into the simplest form and understand whether whatever you are doing contributes back to this. If all you're doing a lot of things, but all you're doing is just direction, you're missing on this too. You need to work on those, right? So any method always come back to this framework. Okay, so I hope this example here that I've given you at the bottom, okay, kind of give you that idea of how Fibs and Elliott Wave can come in to answer these three parts of it, right? But it doesn't necessarily only mean that you need to use Elliott Wave and Fibs, okay? Because any other strategy, as long as I mentioned, can answer this three, you're good. Okay, so I hope that helps. Okay.